Hi, my name is Scott Hodges. My candidate ID number is 3270077, and this is what IB video means to me. My approach to video has changed over the past 2 years. When I first started at IB, I viewed film as a medium to visually show people what I am picturing in my head, though I now also see video as an opportunity to deliver a message to the audience, which is the purpose of all of my movies, so the audience can walk away having learned something. The message is the basis of video. It gives it depth, helps stimulate emotion, and makes the movie easier to understand. My teacher, Scott Hoskins, helped me learn this. He, as well as my friends Carson Gordon and Roman Fusco, have been big influences in my progression as a filmmaker. My skills and techniques have also developed. When shooting, I have learned it is best to shoot with at least 2 or 3 cameras so more angles can be shot at once. I have also learned music and lighting help set the tone for the scene and can greatly increase the quality of a video. My weaknesses are with cinematography and audio. My main problems are doing the little things, such as keeping eyes on the upper third and making sure there is very minimal ambient noise. My strengths are in pre-production and editing. I studied and I've had a lot of practice being a producer, so my skills in pre-production have improved because many of the roles of the producer are done in pre-production. Some of my strengths of a producer are scheduling, locking and shooting locations, making sure everyone is doing their part as an actor and staying on task, acquiring and shooting locations, and just making sure we stay on time with the production in general. In terms of editing, I've been put in many situations where production does not go as planned, and I need to fix it in editing. Therefore, I've had a lot of practice as an editor, and I've learned many useful tricks to fix mistakes made in production. The second video I shot in third term of my junior year was In the Blink of an Eye. This video I shot as sort of not really a sequel, but it was based off of a movie that I saw back my freshman year called Blink. And the purpose of that video was to sort of show how don't waste time, enjoy life to the fullest, because in the blink of an eye, you're going to be old. So I did my own take on it, basically having the same message by sure, don't rush through life and live life to the fullest, and to slow down and just enjoy yourself. So in this movie, I did use music again. This time I used Fast Lane by Eminem and Bad Meets Evil as to start off the movie with. I thought it was appropriate because the movie started off with the character rushing really quickly. It actually started off on a time lapse of everyone moving really fast, including the main character, Jake. In this, I also use another technique that I use when I'm having a conversation between characters, where I have one camera focused on one character's face, the other camera focused on another character's face, both close-up shots, and then a third of a wide-angle shots of the whole scene. Although I had the third camera placed in a way where it would not get the other cameras in the actual shot. And in addition, I use a boom mic for this scene, for the conversation scene. So when shooting the rest of the movie, after Jake went to sleep in the very beginning, it was all a point of view movie from his eyes. And this was the first kind of point of view movie I made. And in doing so, I had the camera focus on the characters' faces, although I also had the main actor, whoever it was, because Jake was getting older, I had to use different actors, stand behind the camera, and I had his legs and his arms in the shot, so it looked like he was actually looking down at his arms and at the rest of his body. In the end, I think that this movie worked out very well. However, I do wish I had shot more scenes of Jake throughout his life getting older, because I kind of jumped from Jake when he was in high school to Jake to when he was getting married. And looking back, I feel like that was kind of a big jump. I might want to show him in college, or maybe him with this girl before he ended up getting married. Then, although after that, I believe that I had nice progression of tapes. It went from Jake having kids. Then after that, it went from Jake's kids to Jake being really old and realizing that his life was almost over in a blink of an eye. I also used the blinking motion, which I had taken from the movie Blink that I based my movie off of, which was that each transition was whenever Jake blinked. I initially wanted to do that by having a shot of the camera closing or turning off, which would have simulated Jake closing his eyes. However, I could not get around to doing that properly, so instead I switched to just having him close his eyes on camera. I did learn a lot by making this movie. I got to play around with special effects, like having Jake's voice when he was talking to himself. I used an iMovie effect where it sounded like he was talking indoors to simulate him talking in his head. Although, looking back, I think I would have probably just kept it normal. I don't think that having the sort of echo effect that the indoor audio effect was really necessary. I think it could have gotten the message across by him just talking normally and putting that as a voiceover. The second movie I shot in the IB video was Job Interview. This video I actually shot for a company, social organization I'm a part of called the Lynx Youth Council, or the Lynx Incorporated. I am a member of the Lynx, and part of our project was to shoot a video about morals. So I offered to be both the scriptwriter and the director for this movie, as well as the editor. I shot the video with the members of my Lynx group. However, we shot it all at my high school's library, George School. This was probably the biggest production I've been a part of. I used countless actors, I believe about 12 or so, both children and adults. I was able to get the library cleared for the duration of the shooting, and I was basically running everything. I use a lot of my shooting techniques in this video. I actually had the scene shot from at least 4 or 5 different camera angles, including both a camera that was always focused on the main character's face, a close-up shot of that. I had half body shots, wide shots, and I also had shots from behind as well, which I realized was breaking the axis at times, but I still thought it was worth doing. I use a little bit of music in this video. Initially, I had planned using more copyrighted music. For example, Kanye West's song "Stronger" and Beyonce's "Sweet Sweet Dreams" to be music the radio was playing as the cars were pulling into the parking lot. However, I later switched it out with more royalty-free music. We shot the bulk of the movie in the office of one of the librarians at George School, and even though we were in a really tight and closed space, I was able to maximize it by putting the cameras in places where they were able to get different camera angles but not have the other cameras or myself in the shot. In post-production, I was very happy because I had a lot of different takes to choose from. This was actually one of my most successful movies because I think I had a lot of takes and I was able to get the English shots so well without a lot of trouble with lighting. Aside from one scene where the lights automatically turned off as we were shooting and I could not find a different image where the lights were not off. Something that surprised me was the fact that a lot of people were very upset because at the end, the movie ended with sort of an open-ended ending. In that instead of saying who got the job at the end, it was sort of left up to the audience to decide who was more qualified for the job. I did this on purpose, though, because since this movie was also used for the organization's purposes, I wanted it to sort of be a sort of hard question to answer, and that would spark a lot of discussion because it was also being used as a discussion panel at the organization. And which is also, that's another reason why when choosing our actors, we designed them to be sort of contradictory to each other, and that is in a way that Keith was supposed to be an actor or a character who had a lot of problems. He came unprepared, he didn't remember his resume, he came undressed and sort of really relaxed about his interview. However, he seemed to have better moral values, as in he was a hard worker, he had really good grades, versus the other character who came for the interview, Miss Johnson. She was on time, prepared and ready, however, she wanted too much. So in the end, it was really up to the audience to decide who was more qualified to get the job. And again, surprisingly, a lot of them did not like the fact that it was left open-ended like that, which was being Mr. Right. This was another IB Group 4 project that we done, the second one that we did. And the idea was actually thought up of our video teacher, Scott Hoskins. The movie was supposed to be about a man who just recently broke up with his girlfriend, and he goes into this cafe kind of depressed, and in the cafe a man approaches him thinking he's someone else. Initially the main character, Jesse Wright, is confused by this, although since he's had such a bad day and his girlfriend broke up with him, basically saying that he was too boring, he decided to go with it just to have some fun for once, a nice little change. And he ends up just acting like this guy who the man who sat down thinks that he is, which he ends up doing, and he learns he has a lot of fun with it. So then he comes back again another day and does the same thing and has a lot of fun doing it. However, this time he plays the part of a guy who he probably should not have been impersonating, which is the supposed lover of a husband who comes in very mad and yells at him in the middle of the cafe. In the end, Jesse says that he won't stop seeing this man's wife, and the man punches him in the face and walks out. Though the audience may think that Jesse is hurt, he does give a smile and is thought to believe that he is really happy and pleased with this experience. During this movie, I was not the producer, though I was the cinematographer. We did have a lot of different types of cameras, though, when we shot. I tried to use my own shooting techniques for the cameras that I was managing, but I also had Eric, the director, use a camera as well. Same with Drew, the assistant director, and Carson, the scriptwriter. And they all use their own techniques when they shot. Although I mostly kept my camera focused on Ben's or Jesse's face. As well, when I was shooting for the first time, I used a shoulder support when I shot the first scene. So for the first scene of the movie, I was basically walking back with a shoulder support, which was felt different at first, but I learned that to use it later on in the shooting the movie, and I think it worked out really well, came out really nicely.